Although our trigger is working fine, but we have some repetitive code in our trigger. And in this video, we are going to shift our logic to our Apex classes so that we don't have to write this repetitive code and we can access it by using simple methods. So first I'm going to create an Apex class. For that, open your command palette using Command Shift P or Control Shift P and click on Create Apex Class. Let's name this Apex class as Contact Trigger Handler and let's save it. Now I'm going to have two methods in this class. The first one is public static void and let's call it after insert handler. For now I'm going to leave the parameter as blank, and now I'm going to declare one more method which should be public static void after update handler. Let's leave the parameter blank here as well. And now let's copy the code from our contact trigger. I'm going to copy the complete code in my after insert event and I'm going to paste it in the first method. So here we need our trigger.new, which we can directly access in this way as well, but we need to typecast it. But a better way of writing it would be to accept this as a parameter in our method. So I'm going to accept a list of contact and let's call it new contacts. And then I'm going to iterate over this new contacts list instead of trigger.new. And then we can leave the rest of code as is. Now let's copy the code from our after update event and paste it in our second method. So this after update handler method needs the trigger.new as well and trigger.oldMap as well. And I'm going to accept both of these as parameter. So the first one would be list of contact. Let's name it new contacts. And the second one should be a map of ID, contact. And let's name it old contacts map. So I'm going to replace this trigger.new with new contacts. And I'm going to replace this trigger.oldMap with old contacts map. So that's it. Now both of these methods should work fine. But did we get rid of the repetitive code? No. Our class still has over 15 lines of code repeated twice. And if we'll be handling the delete and undelete events as well, then this code will repeat 4 times. So we need to shift this code, which is pretty generic, to somewhere else, right? For that, I'm going to create one more Apex class and I'm going to call it account contact service, because we are trying to update the parent account in this piece of code. So let's create one more class. And here I'm going to create a method. Let's call it public static void and let's name it update active contacts. I'm going to leave the parameter as blank for now. And we are going to take a look at what kind of parameter we need in this method. So let's go back to our handler class and copy the repeated code. So this piece of code is repeated twice because we see it here in our after insert event as well. So copy it and paste it here in our account contact service class. So this code only needs one parameter, which is the set of account IDs. So I'm going to get it as a parameter here. So it will be like set of ID and let's call it account IDs that we need to update. So what we can do now, we can simply call this method from our trigger handler class and we don't have to repeat this code multiple times. So let's copy this class name and I'm going to remove everything from here. Instead, I'm going to use my update active contacts method, and I'm passing my account ID set directly in this method. We are going to do the same thing in our after update event as well. So let's get rid of all these lines and paste it here. So now our update handler and insert handler is calling the same method to update the parent account. The only difference between these two methods is the way to capture these account IDs. In update handler we have more conditions, where in the insert handler it's very straightforward. So now I'm going to remove my code from the trigger. So now I'm going to remove my code from contact trigger as well. So first let's remove everything from after insert event. Instead we are going to use our contact trigger handler class, and this should be after insert handler, and we are going to pass our trigger.new here in this method. Now I'm going to remove everything from after update event as well. Again we are going to use our contact trigger handler class. This time we are accessing after update handler method. The first parameter should be trigger.new because this is of type list. The second one should be trigger.oldmap. So that's it. Now let's try to deploy our code one more time. So this time we need to deploy multiple classes at once. So we need to select our default folder, right click on it and click on deploy source to org. So this is going to deploy our complete source code from the local SFDX project to our Salesforce org. Our deployment is successful and it should work fine as well. So you can give it a test on your end and they should work fine, but now our trigger is better organized. Even our trigger handler class is better organized and we do not have any repeated code anywhere. In the next video, when we'll be writing our delete event handler and the undelete event handler, then you would notice that how easy it is to implement those two handlers now, because we have this framework in place where the update active contacts method is separate than anything else.